Last month, remarks by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about a greater Israel sparked widespread anger in the Arab world. Netanyahu said in an interview with i24 News that he felt he was on a historic and spiritual mission, and when asked if he felt connected to the vision of a greater Israel, he said very. Now, Greater Israel is a term that has had several meanings over the years and means different things to different people. But broadly speaking, as a concept invoked by its proponents, it envisions territorial expansion of Israel to encompass what its proponents consider divinely promised land. These days, it's largely considered to cover Israel, the occupied Palestinian territories of Gaza and the West Bank, and the Golan Heights. So, with the Israeli government seemingly intent on taking control of Gaza, seriously considering annexing the West Bank, and moving to entrench its position in the Golan Heights, as well as newly seized Syrian territory, in this video we're going to explain this apparent building of a greater Israel. Have you ever wondered how much money TLDR makes each year, or who's funding our journalism? Well, we think that transparency is super important, so we answer both questions in our recent video. It's linked in the description. We're going to go through the geographical areas we mentioned in the intro sequentially, starting with the Gaza Strip. The prospect of a ceasefire deal in Gaza looks perhaps more distant than ever, especially after Israel bombed Hamas's political bureau and negotiating team earlier this week in Qatar, a key mediator in the conflict. It's not unreasonable to presume then that the Israeli government is not interested in a deal with Hamas, and instead is going all in on taking control of the Strip, with its new military offensive to capture Gaza City seen as a precursor to a wider takeover. While Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel doesn't want to keep Gaza long-term, plans for the day after are thin on the ground, and the Washington Post reported late last month that the US and Israel are privately considering a, quote, voluntary relocation of the Strip, by offering each Gazan $5,000 to move to another country while Gaza is redeveloped. Meanwhile, influential far-right cabinet members like Bezalel Smotrich, alongside pro-settler organizations, have been publicly calling for the Israeli takeover of Gaza and re-establishment of dismantled Jewish settlements in the territory. At the same time, Israel is also moving to annex more of the West Bank. For context, the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is meant to be the heart of the Palestinian state. Israel has militarily occupied the West Bank since it captured it from Jordan in 1967 during the Six-Day War. The Oslo Accords in the 1990s established a limited self-government for Palestinians in its urban areas, with an estimated 3 million Palestinians living in the West Bank, as well as 700,000 Jewish Israeli settlers who live in hundreds of settlements and outposts across the occupied territory, which are illegal under international law. While some settlers are ideologically driven, believing their divine right to live there, others have more practical reasons, such as the lower cost of living. Attacks by Israeli settlers against Palestinians in the West Bank, driving Palestinian displacement, have surged to record highs, sharply increasing in 2023 and 2024 in the aftermath of Hamas's October 7th attacks, although attacks were already rising prior to this, and are currently on track to hit a new high this year, according to UN data. Over the decades, successive Israeli governments have advanced West Bank settlement. However, the program has greatly expanded under the current Netanyahu government. In 2023, the Israeli government approved a record number of building permits for new settlement housing units. In 2024, it declared more West Bank territory as state land than in any previous calendar year. And last month, the Israeli government approved a long-held-off and widely condemned settlement project known as E1, which will cut deep into the West Bank, effectively severing East Jerusalem from the remainder of the West Bank, and effectively cutting the route between Ramallah and Bethlehem, with Bezalel Smotrich explicitly saying that it will, quote, bury the idea of a Palestinian state. In the face of a new wave of Western governments moving to recognize Palestinian statehood, Smotrich is now pushing a plan within government to annex 82% of the West Bank, i.e. unilaterally bring that land under full Israeli sovereignty. His proposal aims for, quote, maximum territory and minimum Arab population, by leaving just 6 non-contiguous Palestinian population centers unannexed. While Smotrich is perhaps the most active pursuer of annexation, he's not a political outlier. In July, the Israeli Knesset voted overwhelmingly in favour of a symbolic motion that endorsed annexing the West Bank, having last year voted overwhelmingly against the idea of Palestinian statehood. However, the Israeli government has, for now, reportedly backed off talk of annexing the West Bank, as an angry response from Arab countries shows that annexation would basically kill hopes of further regional diplomatic normalization of Israel, and could actually reverse progress. The UAE, which normalized relations with Israel as part of the Abraham Accords in 2020 on the condition that it halt its then-planned partial annexation, warned this month that annexation would be a red line. If Israel does eventually go ahead with it, it wouldn't be the first time that they've annexed territory despite international condemnation. The Golan Heights, a strategic plateau which Israel captured the majority of from Syria in 1967, was effectively annexed in 1981, a move that was unrecognized internationally, except by the US under the Trump administration in 2019. Some 31,000 Israeli settlers live in the Golan Heights, alongside an estimated 24,000 mostly Druze Arab Syrians. Although last year the Israeli government announced plans to expand its Golan settlements with the goal of doubling the territory's population. Since the fall of Syria's Assad regime at the end of last year, Israel has further expanded its control over Syrian territory by seizing the UN patrol buffer zone between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and Syria, with the Israeli military taking up strategic positions, including on Mount Hermon, which overlooks the Syrian capital of Damascus. Israel's defense minister said that the military is prepared to remain there for an unlimited amount of time, saying that it's vital to protecting Israel's northern communities from threats, all while continuing to strike targets across Syria and warning Syrian troops from entering Syria's 3 southernmost governorates. Meanwhile, in southern Lebanon, Israeli forces remain in 5 strategic locations across the border indefinitely, stating that they will not withdraw as long as Hezbollah remains a threat. And this could be some time, given that Hezbollah has shown little willingness to disarm recently. Ultimately, while settlements and talk of annexation are not a new phenomena, they've clearly gained momentum in recent years, with Israel also moving into so-called security buffer zones in Lebanon and Syria. It's also now evident, as made particularly clear by the recent Israeli strike in Qatar, that the Israeli government is virtually unconstrained by international opinion. While perhaps the one country that could force a change in policy, the US, seems remarkably supportive. US envoy Tom Barrack bluntly stated that in Israel's mind, the lines on the map are meaningless, adding, quote, "They will go where they want, when they want, and do what they want to protect Israelis and their borders." Meanwhile, on annexation, US Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee recently said that the US respects Israel as a sovereign nation and will not tell Israel what to do.
It's no secret that problem solving is always found at the heart of politics, whether that's through making important decisions or just understanding how the world works. Here at TLDR, we want to stay on top of our problem solving too, so that's why we use Brilliant. Brilliant is an incredibly comprehensive online learning platform that helps you become a better thinker and problem solver, designed specifically to teach you everything from maths, data analysis, programming, and AI from the ground up. You don't need a fancy degree or to have dedicated hundreds of hours to studying, as Brilliant gets you stuck in at the perfect level, allowing you to first start with mastering the foundations, then helps you level up to increasingly challenging problems. Take their fantastic data courses, for example. Whether you're starting fresh or continuing your learning journey, Brilliant offers everything from basics, like data visualizations, to advanced topics like algorithms and regression models. Using real-world data from Airbnb, Spotify, Starbucks, and more, you'll learn to see trends, parse and visualize massive datasets, and make better informed decisions. To start tackling those problems and try Brilliant for free, visit brilliant.org/TLDR, scan the QR code on screen, or you can click the link in the description. By doing so, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know that you came from us, which really helps us out.